Om Sadashivasamārambhām Shankarācārya-madhyamām Asmadācārya-paryantāം Vande Guru Paramparam. Om. Hari Om. We will study another 6 verses of the Shraddha Traya Vibhaga Yoga, the 17th chapter of the Gita, which deals with Yajna, Dhyana and Tapaha. After that, we will have a Gita quiz. To begin with, Sudha, opening verse for today, please. Sudha Vani.
Hari Om, Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Am I audible, Doctor?
Very clear, go ahead.
Yes. In this chapter, we have seen Lord Krishna already dealt with 3 types of Shraddha. He takes up few more topics, Ahara, Yajna, Tapaha and Dhanam. Last class, we have heard about Ahara and also 2 types of Yajna, that is Satvika Yajna, an activity performed for the benefit of the society, and Rajasika Yajna, these activities performed for personal gains. They are Sakama Karmas done for one's own benefit. Now, in this verse, Krishna is talking about Tamasika Yajna. Let us look into the shloka. Vidhihinam asrushtanam mantrahinam adakshinam shraddha virahitam yajnam tamasam parichakshati. Parichakshate yajnam tamasam. They call that yajna to be tamasic. Vidhihinam, which is contrary to scriptural injunctions. Asrushtanam mantrahinam adakshinam shraddha virahitam. That is, which is without food cooked, without proper mantras, without proper dakshina and without faith. So, Tamasika Yajna is that where all the rules are violated to suit one's own convenience. Vidhihinam, which is contrary to scriptural injunctions. Here, the very purpose of Yajnam is ignored or forgotten. Nothing is done as per scriptural injunctions. So let us look into these aspects. Asrushtanam, the very purpose of Yajna is to share our possessions with others. That is Annadanam, feeding people, giving away cows, lands and clothes. So Dhanam is an integral part. And how one should view this Dhanam? Give with humility and respect and give the best, and one should give willingly. But in Tamasika Yajna, a person, even though he has capacity to give, takes an advantage of various options given in Shastram, which are meant for those who cannot afford.
Sir, Sudha has gone on mute.
Am I audible now?
Yeah. Carry on. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So for example, Godanam. The option is, if you cannot give a cow, you can give instead a coconut or at least a small amount. If a rich person resorts to these options, he will definitely be committing a sin. The result is, Bhagavan makes his position such that in due course, he will not be able to give that. He will not be able to afford that. Similarly, Swami Paramarthananda says, for everything, we cannot say Akshatam Samarpayami, that is in the place of Vastram, Upavitam, etc. They have to be properly made. Next, Mantrahinam, that is violating the mantra, that is without chanting mantras properly, or one is in a great hurry to chant. He resorts to what is said in Vishnu Sahasranamam in itself. That is, you can chant 3 times Ramanama and get benefited. That is, Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Ramanama Varanane. This way, one should not abuse the option given in Shastram. Then, Adakshinam. One should remember that nothing is to be asked free. A priest who has performed this yajna has to be properly remunerated, because a Brahmin is not supposed to fix a price for any ritual or demand. Shastras say Asantushto dvijo nashtaha. A discontented Brahmin is spiritually lost. But if adequate dakshina is not given, that is as per present day needs, a Brahmin resorts to commercial way of collecting the money, and he fixes a price like A type, B type, C type. This will not happen if a priest is respected and given the required dakshina. Now the last one, Shraddha Virahitam, that is devoid of faith in scriptural injunctions. That is doubting and questioning. For example, when Shraddham is conducted, this person questions whether the offerings reach the forefathers who are dead and gone long back, and does in a casual manner. So Krishna says this type of tamasic activities should be avoided because Vedic society is based on voluntary growth. There should be no rule at all. It is said a perfect society is one in which rules are minimum. I should know that I am a part of this society and I should contribute my part voluntarily. Hari Om. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Sudhavani, for a very nice presentation on the tamasic type of yajnas.
Thank you,
Bhaskar.
Doctor.
Thank you. Bhaskar, please.
Yeah, Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. 17, chapter 14 verse. Deva Dvija Guru Prajna Pujanam Shauchamartvajam Brahmacharya Himsa Cha Shariram Tapa Uchyate. The gist goes like this: worshipping deities, brahmanas, teachers, and wise people, external cleanliness, straightforwardness, self-discipline, and not physically hurting are all the disciplines of the physical body. The previous verses dealt with ahara and yagna, and this topic now is tapas, the physical body tapas, sharira. This religious discipline is viewed as threefold: shariram, kayakam, and vachakam, physical, verbal, and mental, respectively. They are meant for purification, that is shuddham, shuddhi. Just as we clean any instrument, karana, before use for better clarity and cleanliness, this verse is mainly dedicated to the body. The first is pujana, devotion, worship, or reverence. Worshipping deities in any form is deva puja. This consistent practice is eventually a form of tapas. The next is respect given to the brahmanas and teachers. Anyone who teaches is a guru. Mata, Pita, Guru. Okay. These are the various disciplines of knowledge we learn from them. And spiritual teachers who have initiated us into mantra, puja, japa, yagna, or initiated us with Brahmopadesha. Next is prajna. Sri Krishna says that a wise and scholarly person is also to be respected. Offerings or some other services could be implied here. The next discipline is saucha. This verse refers to external cleanliness. The bhavya, what is it? I'm sorry, I'm really not a service is emphasized, since keeping the external environment and physical body clean provides conducive atmosphere and is for spiritual studies. Moving to arjava, which is straightforwardness in dealing with people. In pursuit of truth, honesty in seekers is crucial. Commitment is being straightforwardness in all interactions is also a form of tapas. An ardent tapas of any form requires for perfect alignment of daily duties. Thought, word and speech, and deed involving mind and speech is very much in coordination. Moving ahead is brahmacharya, restraint at the head of as the level of external sense organs, bahya indriya nigraha. Next is dhamma. Ahimsa is voluntarily, is in fact non-hurting. Tapas here is curbing the tendency to hurt physically. Swami Param says, The tapas is willful self-denial, and there is to establish mastery over our own organs of the body. A denial is suffering or suppression, which leads to mental turbulence. However, willpower, dhriti, gives us inner strength. Param gives us a mantra to avoid mental turbulence. Tapas should never be forced or enforced by other people. This Icha should come from within, from ourselves, and eventually tapas becomes a spiritual sadhana. Shankaracharya defines tapas as sharira pidanam, voluntarily giving discomfort to body, or something like switching off the AC and living without the AC, or without the chapel going around, or say even so many upasanas like Dwadashi and Ekadashi, we do so many. That is again a tapas. Param refers the Mahanarayana Upanishad, which refers to various categories of tapa: Vitam, Shrutam, Santam, Dhanam, Dhana, and Kshama. Dhamma and Kshama, sorry. In conclusion, Param says any sadhana that you practice can be called tapas, including the sadhaka regularly attending spiritual classes. Harihom. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bhaskar, for a nice presentation, including your mention of regularly attending spiritual classes. Gradually, we find that more and more people, or fewer and fewer, some people are dropping out from our original levels. Let us commit ourselves to see that we complete the study of the Bhagavad Gita. Vibha, the next verse is yours.
Hari Om. Okay, this is the 17th chapter, 15th verse. Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat swadhyaya abhyasanam chaiva vanmayam tapa uchyate. So tapas means discipline, no? And by following these tapas, one can achieve sadhana chatushtaya in full measure. In this chapter, Shri Krishna talks about the discipline of speech. It is so important to have this in a Vedanta because the words have such power to evoke the best and the worst in a person. And this is prominent in every religion and in every philosophy. Like example, you take Lord Buddha's talks, right? Speech is such an important thing. It is a part of the eightfold path, no, in Buddha. So it's such an important thing. Now coming to this verse, Shri Krishna tells us what contributes the discipline of speech. He points out 4 disciplines which are to be practiced in our day-to-day life to gain mastery over one's speech. And the first one is Anudvegakaram Vakyam. Here, our speech should be in such a way that it does not agitate or it does not disturb anyone else. The second one is Satyam. One should always speak the truth in every possible way, in every possible occasion. The third one is Priya Hitam. Even though sometimes one wants to speak the truth, and if it's not pleasing and if it's not beneficial to the others, it is good to keep it to oneself. So because Priya means pleasing and Hitam means beneficial. So Shri Krishna suggests one word. So our words must be Priya and it should be Hitam. And that way, so we should stop all unnecessary conversations. And the fourth one is Swadhyaya Abhyasanam. This is to chant, to study and understand the Vedas and the scriptures. These 4 practices together contribute the discipline of speech. And in today's modern world, no, the entire speech and communication itself has changed so much. And here we are here to study and to really understand ourselves so we can take our day-to-day life to really dwell and see what we're doing. Example, just say WhatsApp forwards. The number of WhatsApp forwards we send it, we don't even put our a little interest to understand, oh, are we forwarding something true? Is this really going to help somebody? Is it going to hurt somebody? No, but we just forward and everybody does it. It's so common. Each and everyone does it. So we have to pay attention to ourselves to understand if these messages, these links, all of this, is it the truth? Does it have any value? All that we really have to pay attention. And then when we realize all of this, we'll get so much time in our hands, and we can use this time to really to chant, to learn more about ourselves, and to realize our true real nature. So, and this verse, this may seem very obvious, but if you want to practice this as a real Vedantin, then there is really nothing much to talk, to look on FB, to send WhatsApp forwards, nothing. And that is why the Rishi said, talking is easy, vachanam saralam, but practicing is the difficult part. Abhyasam katinam. So I hope we take the message of Sri Krishna and discipline our thoughts and our speech. Thank you, Hari Om.
Thank you, Vibha, for a very nice presentation. Anudvega haram should not hurt somebody. It should be truthful. It should be pleasant. It should benefit a person. One of the messages Swamiji brought out is to speak less. He says all the problems will happen because we speak too much. Dr. Padma Baliga, please, for the next verse.
Hari Om, Doctor. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So while the 14th and the 15th verses talked about the tapas of the body and of speech, the 16th verse describes the tapas of the mind or mental austerity. The verse goes like this: Mana prasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityetat tapo manasam uchyate. The Shabdarth is Mana Prasada, mental quietude or tranquility, Saumyatvam, gentleness, Maunam, silence, Atma Vinigraha or mind control, Bhava Samshuddhi, purity of motive, Iti Etat, all this, Uchyate is said, Manasam Tapa, to be mental austerity. Now, verse 16 touches upon what Swamiji calls the toughest of the three forms of tapas, that is Manasam tapas. Kayikam involved the physical body, the Sthula Shariram. Vachikam tapas is more difficult than Kayikam because Vakindriyam is a subtle organ belonging to the subtle body. It is one of the Pancha Karmendriyanis and one of the 19 components that make up the Sukshma Shariram. The most difficult is Manasam Tapa or mental austerity. Both Vak and Manas form the Sukshma Shariram. While Vak or speech is Baya Indriyam, Manas is Antara Indriyam. Therefore, disciplining it is more difficult. Now, what are the mental disciplines that we should follow? There are 5. The first one is Mana Prasada, meaning a mind which is free from stress and strain. So freedom from mental stress and not worrying about the future is the first mental discipline. Swami Paramarthanandaji quotes a line from Bhartrhari's Niti Shatakam, in which he addresses his mind and asks, "O mind, why are you wandering all over? And by your wandering, is the future going to be influenced?" So Swamiji says that we all need to plan for the future. This is good, but worrying about the future is a reaction which will only adversely affect our efficiency in the present. So while planning improves efficiency, worrying decreases it. Just like we should not worry about our future, we should not brood over the past either. Just as we plan for the future, we can recollect the past and learn from it, but not brood over it. It is better to face the present that we are living in without worry and anxiety in a stress-free or mana prasada state. The second mental discipline is saumyatvam or gentleness of thoughts. Our thoughts get translated into our words and our actions. If our thoughts are rude, so will our words and actions be, for they originate in the mind. If our thoughts are gentle, so will our words and actions be. Therefore, we see Kayika and Vachikam tapas can truly happen only when the mind is disciplined and is in a state of saumyatvam. The third mental discipline is maunam or silence. Just being aware of the thought. During this time, we should neither feel happy that we have good thoughts, nor feel sad or guilty that we have negative thoughts. We should simply learn to have the thoughts, let them come and go. This is called Sakshi Bhava and is taught in Vipassana meditation. Swami Paramarthananda asks us to practice this for at least 5 minutes every day and become the Sakshi of our mind. Next is Atma Vinigraha, the direction of the thoughts. Atma means mind, Vinigraha means disciplining. We must direct our thoughts in such a way that we encourage positive thoughts or Daivi Sampat and discourage unhealthy thoughts or Asuri Sampat. When we discipline our thoughts, we discipline our mind. The fifth mental discipline is Bhava Samshuddhi or purity of motive. Self-control is not possible unless our motives are pure and serene. As Swami Chinmayananda says, without any definite goal, without planning our onward march towards the ideal, we are apt to fall a victim for the various temptations en route. Hari Om. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Dr. Padma, for a nice presentation, including a practical demonstration of what silence is. It's extremely difficult to remain still for some time and not do anything. And that is a great discipline that we need to learn. Dr. Bhaskar.
Om Gurubhyo Namaha. So, with the understanding of Trividyam, best explained in the previous 3 verses, the division of tapas based on instrument or the organs, Kayaka, Vachaka and Manasa tapas ends, and Sri Krishna Paramatma now divides tapas based on the 3 gunas, and now he clearly explains in 17.17 about Sattvic tapas. So the verse goes like this: Shraddhaya Paraya Tapam Tapaha Tat Trividam Naraya Afalam Kangshibir Yuktaya Sattvikam Parichakshate. So they declare that threefold austerities, which is practiced with great faith by those people who are disciplined and are not desirous of the result. So they are called Sattvic. That tapas is called Sattvic tapas. So coming to the Sri Krishna is based on the mode of practice, whether the Sattva Guna practice is called Sattva tapas, Rajasic Guna is called Rajasic tapas, and Tamo Guna is Tamasic tapas. So coming to the verse proper, there is a significant meaning here in Paraya Shraddhaya Tapam. That means the Sattvic type of tapas is the one practiced not for the sake of others, and it's not for the pressure from the scriptures, nor because of pressure from swamis or gurus. It is not for any other reasons. It is only with great reverence and value of this discipline when they are voluntarily practiced out of value and regards. That is called Paraya Shraddhaya Tapam. So the next word which has got significant meaning in the verse is Afalam Akangshibir, means those who have no desires for rewards. Those evolved jivas with adherent faith who are imbued with the consciousness that all their actions are humble offering to the worship of Lord Krishna and adhering to the absolute authorities of the Vedic scriptures. So even in Gita 2nd chapter, Krishna uses this word repeatedly. So he says, Yogassa kuro karmani sangam tattva dhananjaya. Don't expect any results. And what is the attitude towards the tapas is explained in the following thing. If I don't expect any results, what is the motivation of the practice and practicing this tapas? Usually, every motivation is promise of some rewards. So what is the significance? What we have to understand here is, when we ask what is the benefit I get out of this tapas or sadhana for that matter, is so I am looking upon all these values as a means and something else as an end. So what Shastra says is, as long as you love something or you follow something as a mean, your love is never a true love. So if you follow threefold austerities for the sake of business profit, money, name and fame, that means you really don't value the threefold austerities. So Sri Krishna prescribes here, without looking for any other benefits, you practice threefold austerities. So dharma, satyam, tapam should not be treated as a means for any other end. It means that you should value them so much that they themselves should be an end in itself. So dharma should not be a means for money. Dharma should not be a means for profit, means for name and fame. You should value dharma so much that it should become an end in itself. And dharma will become an end in itself only when we know its value. So Dayananda Swami repeatedly says, know the value of every value. It is possible only when with a mind which is pure. That is the beauty of this sattvic tapas. It's that maturity what we are discussing here. Therefore, Sri Krishna is asking us to become more sensitive and more mature, so that we'll follow dharma as an end in itself, and we'll never treat dharma as a means for some worldly benefit. Even if we don't get the worldly benefit, and if we have failed, we should be very happy that we have been able to follow the dharma, because dharma itself we value as an end. Even in Purusha Sutras, dharma is given as a means of artha. It is never given as a means of kama. It is given as an end in itself. So once it is an end in itself, we don't have to ask what is the benefit. For the end, there is no benefit. So yuktaya, what type of person Sri Krishna is talking? Those who are integrated. That means who do not externally follow. Intellectually, they have a value for that. It is practiced out of conviction, not because of any compelling factor. So it is said, tapam yat tapaha. That tapas practiced in this way is sattvikam parichakshate. So Adi Shankaracharya also in his commentary says, we should not follow dharma even for the sake of moksha. One should value dharma for the sake of dharma itself. That is the maturity. That is sattvikam parichakshate. This should be practiced, not the other two, Rajasik and Tamasik tapas. Hari Om, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Bhaskar, for a clear explanation of this verse. We come to the last verse for today. That will be Mamata Shankar. Mamata, please.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Satkaramana pujartham tapodambena chaiva yat kriyate tadiha proktam rajasam chalamadruvam. Literal meaning is that austerity which is performed with pretense for the sake of praise, honor and worship is said to be rajasic, whose result is temporary and uncertain. Lord Krishna explains tapas based on rajasic guna in this verse. To understand tapas driven by rajasic guna, let us look at few stories in the Puranas. The Puranas are filled with stories of all kinds of demons who performed extremely severe penance and austerities. It is said that Ravana chopped off each of his 10 heads until Lord Shiva granted him a boon. And Hiranyakashipu performed such severe penance that his entire flesh dropped off and only his bones remained. However, none of these demons desired self-realization or liberation as the outcome of their penance. They wanted some boon, some power, such that they could destroy their enemies. Sri Krishna says that whenever we conserve our energy and put in a lot of effort towards any material goal, at the cost of inner growth, any goal which is of this world, such type of penance will be called as rajasic. This penance could be for boosting our ego, in other words, for praise, honor, or worship. This is what is meant by Satkara Mana Pujartam in the verse. These people practice with the desire to achieve something. They crave for recognition in the society, making sure whatever they follow is known by the world around them. They do tapas to show off, which means dambhena in the verse. For example, when they are fasting, they tell the whole world, I am fasting for some days, or I am meditating, or I am being very good, I do great service, so on. This is Rajasic tapas. So So all forms of publicity, pomp and show become very important for them. There is always a motive behind their actions. Even if they are doing service, behind the service there is always a selfish motive, an intention to get something in return. Swamiji states that this kind of tapas is practiced by immature people. They do not look upon tapas as the end in itself. They look upon it as a means of materialistic benefit. They, however, follow good practices like being truthful, love towards others, but with a motive to get artha and kama, in other words, profit and worldly pleasures. Explaining it further, these people are interested in the reward that comes out of their actions. For example, if speaking the truth, the satyam, brings credibility in the society and personally benefits them, they will speak the truth. However, if it is going to benefit without telling the truth, then that will be practiced in pursuit of selfish gain. Chalam Adruvam in this verse cautions us. The reward, recognition and promotion from the materialistic world that we cherish is indefinite. It always has a definite shelf life and results in a perishable outcome. In conclusion, when the motive is external growth in terms of possession and money and other paraphernalia, it is rajasic. The tapas done with show and done with the I-ness in it is rajasic tapas. It limits the progress in the path of self-realization. This is the highlight of this verse. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mamta, for another nice explanation. All these verses, both in the 16th and the 17th chapter, are something that we already know, but although we know them, we find that they are difficult to put into practice. And that is why these chapters can be particularly difficult, not for us for understanding, but to see how we can make them a part of our life. We now come to a quiz, and the quiz will be in the following way. Some of the questions are very easy, and some of the questions may be a little difficult. So it will be in this pattern. I'll put a Gita verse. Some of them are familiar. Hello. I will put in a Gita verse, and you will have to, first will be a little academic to tell me from which chapter and which verse number. And then if somebody takes the lead to tell me the meaning, and then we can go a little detailed to what is the word meaning in each of them. All right. So we begin with verse 1. Mattaha parataram nanyat kinchidanti dhananjaya mai sarvam idam protam sutre manigana eva. Chapter and verse.
Seventh.
Okay, Sukanya.
7.7.
Very good.
7.7.
Okay,
Yes,
Sukanya, you will be there to answer
Yeah.
the rest of the questions. Okay, just be there.
Okay.
So the others can be mute for now. And the question for you is Asti na anyat. What is the meaning of that? Asti
Yeah,
na anyat.
it's there otherwise. If it is not there.
Na
Asti.
anyat.
Yeah, otherwise.
Asti na anyat. There is no other.
Uh,
Krishna is saying there is no other. All right.
okay.
Be there. Continue to be there.
Okay.
Parataram kinchit.
Yeah.
What is parataram kinchit?
Little parataram. Yeah. Towards Brahma Gnanam, little.
Anybody else? Little
Anything
is
other than me.
Nothing else.
Yeah. There is no other.
No that.
No other.
Kinchit is little bit.
Okay, kinchit is little bit. I mean, there is not even a bit of.
Bit other than me.
What have you
Para
talking
means
about?
other.
Yeah. Parataram, no other cause. See, for all of us, Bhagavan is the cause. He's trying to say us, I am the causeless cause. For me, there is no cause. Not even a slightest. I am the uncaused cause. So that would be the meaning of this verse. The rest of it, Mattaha means?
Better than me.
Parataram. Me. Mattaha. Me.
Yeah.
Apart from me. Apart from me.
All right. So we go again, we take another verse. It will go on the same pattern. You will have to tell me which chapter, which is the verse number. As I said, this is academic. not so important. But then if you can get me the meaning of that, the just meaning of that verse, and then the word meaning. All right, let's see what the verse is. Urdhva moolam adashakam ashwatam.
Purushottama Prapti
15th
Yoga.
chapter. 15th chapter, first sloka.
Very good. All right. Who will go for the detailed questioning on this?
Dr. Jagdish.
Somebody volunteer.
Urdhva moolam.
Okay.
Means
no, you be there. Dr. Anupama, be there. Let me ask you the questions. Be there. All right. So you will have to prahuhu means what?
It has been said so.
Very good. They speak of. The wise people so speak of. Okay. Then Avyavyam Ashwatam.
The Ashwatha tree, which is so expansive, like all parading types, as expansive as Brahman.
Correct. What is the meaning of Ashwatha?
Perishable.
Yeah, Asashwatha.
Shashwatha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We continue to be there. We'll have some more questions on this. Urdhva moolam means?
The roots are on top.
All right. The next, adashakam.
The branches are at various levels.
All right, whose branches are below.
Yeah.
Then, yasya parnani.
Whose leaves?
Okay. Continue. Be there. Chandasmi.
Chandas is the Vedas. So the leaves are like the Vedas, the factories which produce karmas. The Purva,
okay.
The Veda Purva.
Sarya Veda. Oh, you have already answered that.
Yeah.
Okay. The answer is already there. Tam. Okay. Vedavit.
Like the Vedas.
What? Vedavit means?
Like the Vedas.
Who knows Veda?
Correct.
One who knows Veda.
The knower
of the Vedas.
The knower of the Vedas. That is good. Kulkarni. All right. Now I'll just read this. Krishna equates the universe to a huge Ashwatha Vriksha, the people tree. Some of the features common to the tree and the universe are mentioned by Krishna in this verse. Shankaracharya will add a few more. We will mention and discuss 10 of them. Who wants to answer these 10? Open to anybody?
Okay. Mahatvam.
Who's that?
Mahatvam.
Okay, wait.
It was my verse. It was my verse.
Yeah. So you answer. Mahatvam. What is Mahatvam?
Mahatvam means vast.
All right.
Mahatvam is vast.
Okay, can you read it for me? Okay, please read it. No, please read.
Both the tree and the universe are very vast, spread widely. Despite the technological advances in space, we know very little about this universe.
Mahatvam. All right, next is Atindriya Karanam. That means?
Atindriya. Anirvachaniyam, I know. I don't know what this is.
Okay, please read.
Both have invisible causes. The tree is visible, but the roots are not perceived. They are inferred. Ishvara Brahman, the cause of the universe, is not perceptible, but it is only inferred.
Okay,
so the word we have is Anirvachaniyam.
Can you tell me the other words? Can you tell me more? The rest 8
Moolatvam. Moolatvam.
Okay. All right.
Means the origin is the root, the Brahma. Shakhatvam, branches. Parnatvam, leaves.
Yeah.
Ashrayatvam is a nestling space for birds.
Okay.
Then Phalatvam, fruits of various different types.
Okay.
Then Chalanatvam, it moves with the winds.
Okay.
And then Chedatvam, Prarabdha can destroy even a very strong samsara. See, just like a strong wind can uproot a tree, a strong samsara,
Okay, now continue. Now, Bahushakatvam, that means?
Branches at different levels.
All right, please read.
Svargaloka.
No, read.
They have many branches. A huge tree has many branches, high, middle, and low branches. The universe has also many layers of lokas, 6 higher lokas, bhuloka, and 7 lower lokas.
Pakshivatvam
means nestling place for birds.
All right. Continue. Palam
is fruits. Yeah,
Fruits.
like Sukha, Dukkha, Mishra.
All right. I'll proceed. Parnatvam.
The leaves.
Leaves.
Leaves, the Karma Khanda. That is the Karma Khanda.
What is
Anirvachaniyatvam.
Incomparable.
Anirvachaniyatvam means that is the Maya Amsha of the universe. We cannot explain the origin, the beginning, the end.
All right. Next. Nityatvam.
Eternal.
But how can it be eternal?
Because it's a samsara.
So
Janma Marana.
Even though it is finite, the tree
cycle
is eternal. Okay, the cycle is eternal. Shalanatvam. Answer is already there. Shedatvam. Okay, I will put your slides only, what you put there. Similarity between a people tree and a samsara. Both are huge and vast, that is Mahatvam. Adi Anta Rahitvatvam. You won't know which is the beginning and which is the end. Anarvachaniyatvam. Logically, you cannot say whether it is the cause or effect, whether it is free will or fate. Moolavatvam. Shakatvam, branches. Paranatvam, leaves. Palatvam, Sukha Dukkha Mishram. Then Ashrayavatvam, Shalanatvam, Shedatvam. So these are the. Can you only read? Dr. Anupama, please read this.
Whoever understands this tree, the universe, uses the world but never gets attached to anything that is subject to change. He knows Ishvara or Brahman is changeless and the world is ever changing. The world has beauty, variety, and novelty, but no stability and reality and reliability. Therefore, it will lead to anxiety. If one holds on to Ishvara, he will be able to enjoy its beauty, variety, and novelty of the world flowing in front of him. The one who learns to watch all that comes and goes is Veda Vitha. He knows, the knower of the scriptures is the wise one.
All right. This was chapter 15, verse 1. We go to the next verse. You have to again tell me which chapter, which verse. Again, meaning and word meaning. Let me try to read the verse for you. Rishi Bir Bahudva Geetam Chando Bir Vivida Pratak Brahma Sutre Padaschaivam Hetu Adbir Vinischitaha. Please tell me.
Chapter 13.
Chapter 13. Very good. All right. Dr. Sundar, what is he trying to say?
So this comes following the discussion on Kshetra and Kshetrajna.
Yeah.
This follows that verse which says the knowledge of Kshetra and Kshetrajna is the greatest jnanam.
Correct.
Then there is glorification of that by saying that this knowledge has been praised by rishis in various scriptures. Maybe they pratak distinctly in various scriptures it has been praised.
Good.
And it's analyzed in the Brahma Sutras.
Very good. Good. All right. Now that you know, you have already said, I will leave the field open. Anybody else would like to analyze and come forwards to explain Geetam. Geetam here means this has been taught. All right. Rishi Bihi.
Sages.
Wise people.
Sages. Very good. Sages. Bahuda.
Many. Variously.
Okay, this word pratak, what does pratak mean?
Separately,
clearly.
Very good. Distinct, apart.
Distinctly.
You know, very distinct, apart, very clearly. Okay, next one. Vivido Chandu.
The Vedas.
In different Vedas. Vedas and other.
Very good. Hetumabihi.
Hetumadbihi. Because
this has been taught logically. Then cha eva vinischitaiva. It has been
It's well ascertained, well decided.
So this is exactly what Dr. Sundar said, that this is so important, the distinction between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. This has been elaborated in various other sutras like Brahma Sutra, various rishis and all, and so on. So we proceed to the next verse. You should tell me which chapter, which verse, and then we will eliminate Dr. Sundar from here. Dr. Sundar, you will not take part. Okay. Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kam mano buddhi revacha ahankari tiyam me binna prakriti ashtada. Quickly.
Seventh.
Akshara Brahma Yoga.
Seventh chapter.
Seventh
chapter. It is not 7 because 7 we already finished.
Gnana Vijnana.
Okay, somebody tell me the meaning, then I can tell you which chapter it belongs to.
That is earth.
The 5 elements.
5 elements.
Okay, then 5 elements. After that,
so this
5
is
elements. The ahankara.
Ego.
Total 8.
Sthula Sharira.
Which chapter now? Okay, which chapter and what is he explaining?
No, 7th chapter on this.
Correct, agree. 7th chapter.
Creation.
The para prakriti.
Apara prakriti.
Apara prakriti.
This is the apara prakriti. Who said? I think it's Dr. Sandhya. This is the apara prakriti. Dr. Sandhya, can you stay on?
7.2 or 7.3, I think.
Must be 7.4, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. After saying para and apara, jnanam, vijnanam, then he begins with apara, the details of the apara. Dr. Sandhya, if you can explain the word meaning. Easy.
Is the earth, yeah.
All right. Apaha.
Apaha is the
water.
Sky.
That is
water.
Water.
Okay. Analaha.
Fire.
Vayu.
Fire.
Vayu.
Fire. Vayu is air.
Wind.
Air.
Then come.
Space.
Space.
Sky.
Manaha.
Mind.
It is not just mind here. It means
including the ahankara and
cosmic ego.
Buddhi.
Cosmic intelligence.
Yeah.
Cosmic intelligence.
Okay. This
intellect.
So these are the apara. This is my apara prakriti. So in the 7th chapter, I'm not sure about exact verse. Maybe around 4 or 5. I think.
4, sir. It's 4.
All right. Good. Now, iti eyam me prakriti. It is the same thing, no?
This is the nature of my apara prakriti.
Yeah. This is ashtada, my 8-fold nature.
8-fold.
Yeah. Okay. Coming to the next question again. Chapter, verse number, meaning, word meaning. Ready? You can be ready to tell me which chapter, which verse. This is academic only, but if you know the meaning of that verse, that is a real, okay? Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahitaha sitoshna sukadikkushev tata.
Second
chapter. Wrong.
Second.
Not second chapter.
14th.
What is it?
Your mind should be with
chapter.
Sukha.
So it takes the cold and the hot and the.
That is correct. Okay, academic part. All right, somebody tell me the meaning, then you can get to know which chapter it belongs to.
One who has controlled my indriyas.
Okay.
Prashant, always at peace.
Yeah.
Shitoshna samadukeshu. In the cold and heat, they'll be.
So it does the same thing as Titiksha.
I will go to Dr. Sundar. Dr. Sundar, tell me where this is.
Sir, Dhyana Yoga.
Absolutely right. This is the Bahiranga Sadhana. The Bahiranga Sadhana, all these are so important before you come into meditation. Jitatma Manaha, one who's mastered his mind. Prashantasya, one who's tranquil. Paramatma,
Supreme Atma.
Is it 6th chapter, sir?
Yeah. Sitoshna Sukadukeshu. This is part of the Bahiranga Sadhana. All right.
Sixth chapter.
Okay, now next, be ready for the next. Anapeksha sudirdaksha udasino gatavyataha sarvaramba parityagi yo bhakta same priyaha.
12th chapter, sir.
Bhakti Yoga.
12th chapter.
Very good. 12th chapter, approximately verse number.
That is in Bhakta Lakshana.
Correct.
Bhakta Lakshana. That is 12 to
Second.
Correct. All the features of a Parabhakta. Who's is it Kulkarni?
Yes, sir.
Somebody will explain all these. Anapeksha, Sudirdaksha, Udasina. Be ready. Okay. What is Samad Bhakta?
He is my devotee.
He is my devotee.
All right. Ya Anapeksha.
Who is not
Fruits of action.
Desireless.
He doesn't desire anything.
Correct. One who is independent of your recommendations. Suchihi.
Suchihi.
Clean or pure?
Pure.
Dakshaha. Answer is there already. Efficient. Okay. Udasinaha.
He is unattached.
Indifferent.
Unaffected.
Okay.
Unaffected. Impartial.
Gatavyataha.
No sorrow.
No tension of future.
Very less.
Samatvam.
Sarvaramba parityagi.
Yes.
He will not initiate anything. He will not initiate anything.
Sarva means everything.
Okay, Sarvaramba parityagi.
He will not initiate anything.
No.
He is not
free
working
from everything.
Anticipation of.
Free from all selfish actions. That is what it is said. Free from all selfish activities. That is what is given. Oh, finished. Conclude. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.